full transparency for anybody watching this or anyone that has been invested in my take on this Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony story. This is the last video I'm going to make about this until I get a final result based upon facts and evidence. Keywords, facts and evidence, not your made up fan fictions about, oh, who was there, who was not there, about cars and when they bought them and give, send, go donations. I'm not interested in any of that fluff. Why? Because the cops keep coming out and saying stop believing things on the internet. The owner of Give, Send, Go debunked this random theory about them getting access to the funds, even though everybody was running around saying they got access to the funds immediately. I'm getting sick of this finite game where people pretend to care about this story, knowing full well all they want to do is propagate their own standards of what they believe to be a race war, whether if you're for Carmelo Anthony or for Austin Metcalf. It is getting embarrassing, and I don't care anymore. I'm at that point where until I get facts and evidence and an end conclusion, which is either going to be a plea deal, not guilty, or guilty, I will not be talking about this any further. No, your dumbass fanatical anecdotes about how, oh, he's just going to gargle up the truth about whatever that comes out from the judge and the court while you're sitting there on pins and needles with your own side that you want to lay upon. And if you don't get your way, you're going to start crying conspiracy theory. It's not interesting for me. It's not anything revolving around the truth. This is fanatical fanfare, and I'm here to bookend it and then go my happy ass back to sleep. So where did we leave off? We left off on a bunch of people putting out their fanatical fan fiction in defense of Carmelo Anthony and thinking that that's going to be the thing that gets him off scot-free. And as I stated only a minute ago, that has been bull propagated by a bunch of people online who are desperate to say somebody's innocent just because they're black. And the cops have said, stop believing things you see on the internet. That press conference was an absolute embarrassment in terms of anybody that wants to see Carmelo Anthony go free. Because what the fuck do you mean you're blaming the school for not canceling an event knowing full well that it was gonna rain? They're probably trying to see if it's gonna rain for a long period of time or if they can delay the event. Sitting there blaming the school is not helping Carmelo Anthony's self-defense claims. Yes, he sat there and told the story to the cop asking if this works in self-defense, because as a teenager who probably didn't really get into too much involving the cops, you're gonna sit there and wonder if that lines up with self-defense. And if it does, congratulations, you're gonna end up going scot-free. But if it doesn't, you're going to jail for probably a long time. And in reality, if we're being honest here, him bonding out and having that be the last piece of factual information we got about this should have been the end of it. But because people are so fixated on their made-up race war that is not really as popular as they want it to be, we're gonna be here disseminating a little bit of bullshit from the side that claims to want to care about Austin Metcalf. Because if you didn't know, after pointing out, very logistically might I add, that the people who want to protest for Austin Metcalf were sitting there bitching, complaining that nobody supposedly on the left was gonna do it. Because once you hear that, the correct thing to ask is, why the fuck aren't you protesting for Austin Metcalf? You claim to care about his life so much, so why aren't you doing it? And after a bunch of people decided to they wade through it, finally a group of people said, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna protest for Austin Metcalf. And it was a fucking embarrassment for anybody that could sit up there and say anything in regards to, I actually care about this story and I care about getting justice for Austin Metcalf. You should be fucking embarrassed by that colossal PR stunt that was going on just the other day. They showed up in a Trump bus. They showed up in front of what they claimed to be tens of thousands of people when it was probably just about 20 who could bother to show up because they were in the fucking area and they were bored enough to be there. They thought that they were going to galvanize a bunch of troops in order to get the truth out, but it was just a circle jerk of a bunch of people who think ideologically the exact same. And I would sit here and give you the main event of said press conference, but we're getting a little bit ahead because I want to focus on a separate part of this protest where this dumb fuck you see on the screen decided to film where he makes the claim, keyword he makes the claim, that that was the spot where Austin Metcalf was stabbed and bled out to death.
Stadium, there's the blood stain. There is the blood stain. It's red still. Austin Metcalf's blood. Lord Jesus, help us. It's crying out for justice. His killer is home right now. I got to get out of here before the police come. I just hopped the fence to get in here. His blood is crying out for justice. We need that killer behind bars. We will not rest. We need to protect white Americans. This scourge of black violence is too much. Okay, Kendall Stadium. We need to uplift our communities. I gotta get out of here, guys. I think I hear the cops coming.
And you know, when you're stupid and you want to propagate your own type of media, when you spend your time bitching about mainstream lying to you, you're going to easily believe that because, oh my God, this person hates the mainstream media. So when they talk about something, it must be true. Well, there's a funny fucking detail about spreading information as if it's gospel when reality comes in. Frisco ISD is seeking charges against a man who said he broke into a high school stadium. A Frisco ISD official said Saturday that they're seeking charges against a man who said he broke into a high school stadium to capture video related to the fatal stabbing at a track meet earlier this month. In the video shared on X, Jake Lang, a U.S. Senate hopeful, if this motherfucker becomes a part of the Senate, you might as well just start gradually accepting the fact that we are fried as a country. From Florida, and a founder of Protect White Americans points to a dark streak on the ground near the bleachers of Frisco's David's Q-Kindle Stadium and alleges it's the blood of Austin Metcalf. What's his source for that? Just looking at the ground. The stadium is Frisco ISD property. Amanda McCune, a district spokeswoman, told the Dallas Morning News that the district was in the process of filing trespassing charges. You know why they're following that? For the one slow individual that's sitting there saying, they're trying to stop somebody from getting the truth. They're not supposed to fucking be there. And I could be wrong about this one because I can accept the fact that I'm wrong about this. I believe that they called to make sure that they could actually protest in that area, and I believe it was the cops that said, no, you can't, which led to them changing the location of where they're supposed to be protesting. So they called the cops to verify. They got confirmation that they're not supposed to be there. They go somewhere else, and then the dumb fuck records himself going where he's not supposed to be. You're getting a little bit difficult in terms of proving your own innocence. The individual in this video is filming on the home side of the stadium, McCune said. The incident occurred on the visitor side, which can be seen across the field when he turns the camera off himself. The news reached out to Frisco police for comment, but did not immediately receive a response. The news reached out to Lang for comment on Saturday night, and early Sunday, Lang responded with 2 statements and demanded that the paper print them in whole in a new article. The news didn't agree to Lang's terms before he sent his statements. The publication also doesn't allow subjects of articles to dictate how they're written, because you are batshit insane to think that you could dictate how news is going to be brought about when you're the one lying to a bunch of people. In the first statement, Lang questioned without evidence whether the stabbing happened on the visitor side, suggesting the police need to prove it by releasing any video evidence obtained during their ongoing investigation. Stop. Because maybe I'm the one who's not paying attention to what's being said and what's not said. But in an ongoing investigation, you are not supposed to waste your time with the rest of the world. I understand that there are people who are very interested sitting in various different states across the country. But here's the boring thing that a lot of you motherfuckers still not comprehended. You're gonna have to fucking wait, and it's gonna take time. It may take months. It may take a fucking year. It may take longer than that. And if you can't handle that, oh fucking well, because that's the process of an investigation. And I could be wrong here, but in that press conference, I believe it was brought about that a lot of the witnesses in this are minors, and they're not going to release a bunch of minors' names out to you fanatical fucks online, knowing full well you're not the best people when it comes to treating things privately and keeping them fucking private. Y'all have been spreading a judge's address on social media because she lowered the fucking bond of Carmelo Anthony. You're not smart individuals. The FBI is looking into you motherfuckers. Why? Because you're spreading somebody's fucking address online with malicious intent. Do I need to bring up how the dad recently got swatted? Why? I'm certain because his address got put online for a bunch of people to fucking see, and they decided, let me fuck with the dad just a little bit. So you see how spreading somebody's address online has a negative fucking consequence for all you dumbasses that was making excuses in my community posts? Stop doing that. Stop condoning that. Stop trying to make excuses for that shit. Don't well butt me to death, because you're not gonna make any fucking sense. It's stupid. End of story. But back to this wingnut. You can't sit here and demand that people stop their investigation to just feed you crumbs bit by bit by bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. They have to fucking do their job, which is investigate, get witnesses, pull more witnesses, hopefully go through this video evidence that they claim they got, which I hope never gets leaked to the public, because if you pay attention to this police report that was brought about to the public, you can't get a finite conclusion from anybody. You got people looking at bits and pieces of the fucking thing and saying, oh, this proves self-defense. You got people looking at bits and pieces of that fucking thing and saying, oh, this proves he's nothing but a ne'er-do-well murderer. So I, for the sake of the conversation, until we get to the end result, don't want to see that fucking video evidence. Why? Because I don't have time for fanatical motherfuckers on social media twisting and turning bits and pieces of the video to come up with their own conclusion instead of looking at the full fucking thing. So I will gradually and happily wait as long as it be necessary, because they got other shit to talk about. They got motherfuckers who are living dying by this as their cash cow for live streams. Me, I'm just sitting here ready to talk about the next thing. We're the next stupid motherfucker, the next stupid anecdote thing said on social media about how we're all gonna die, because the limitless amount of stupid that exists will always be there. But let's get back to this. In his second statement, Lang did not dispute entering the stadium. He said he was trying to discover the murder scene that they have hid from the American people for weeks. They have not hidden that. They've actually sat up there and investigated and done their job. They're doing their job. They're not supposed to sit here to feed crumbs to random motherfuckers on Twitter. They're supposed to be investigating this and getting to a fucking conclusion. But with that stupid piece of the conversation out of the way, I want to bring you back to this protest, because it was fucking embarrassing, highlighted by the most important part. Remember the dad? And you remember what the dad said all those weeks ago when this kicked off?
I want to clarify something right off the start, because I've already heard some rumors and some gossip. This was not a race thing, and this is not a political thing. Please do not comment if you do not know what happened. Do not turn this into a racial thing. It was not. Do not politicize this. It's not. This is a human being thing. This person made a bad choice, and it affected both his family and my family forever.
Remember how a bunch of people called him a cuck for that? Remember how a bunch of people were trying to shame a father for going through a grieving process and not wanting to get on any of your random podcasts, any of your random YouTube channels, any of your random fucking Twitter spaces, any of your stupid fucking pointless rallies and say, oh, this is a problem in black society. This is why we have Trump as the fucking president. Why? Because he didn't want to make it fucking political. He just wanted to go through this process. It sucks that he got kicked out of a fucking press conference and was made to look like a fucking villain. It sucks that he got swatted hours after the fact. It sucks for him. And as this entire thing goes on, I truly feel bad for that man, because he's sitting there trying his fucking best, and he's trying to make things as best as he can make sense, and motherfuckers are just giving him shit. They called him. They got him on the phone and they tried to get him to show up to participate in some shit he's directly said he don't want no part in. And you know what he said? And I'm going to be a little bit more dramatic about it, but you're going to see what he said in a second. He basically told them to fuck off.
Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today.
Are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend.
And you know what these motherfuckers in response said? You're suffering from white guilt, and it's because of motherfuckers like you, we're going to have more Austin Metcalfs.
You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
But my son, let me finish. I give you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you. I don't...
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir.
Thanks.
You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
Not to mention that we already have a world where anybody on a dime could be somebody who shoots up a school. Notice how those same individuals who are talking about they're going to be more Austin Metcalfs are ignoring the FSU shooting that happened very recently because, you know, for the fuck of it, I guess the only people in current news circulation that are killing people are the one random black guy you got. Not like there's any other example of something just like this going on right now that nobody, including myself, myself, because I'm gonna hold my feet to the fire on this one, has discussed at all.
First, our top story.
Yeah, 5 more witnesses took the stand today in the murder trial of Kason Allison.
Allison is facing charges alleging he stabbed and killed fellow Belton High School student Joe Ramirez. 6 News reporter Sydney Walker was back in the courtroom for day 2 of the trial. And Sydney, what did you hear from today?
Today we heard from a Belton PD detective who was there that day on the scene, as well as a close friend of Kason's who tried to break up the fight before it even happened, plus 3 boys who were in the bathroom the day of the fight when it occurred. Yesterday we heard a lot from staff about what Joe's injuries were and the response that was taken, but today was focused way more on the dynamics between the 2 boys as well as their respective friend groups. For instance, after multiple graphic crime scene photos were shown, we learned from a Belton PD detective's testimony that he had obtained a video taken inside the bathroom by one of Joe's friends. His friend admitted Ramirez liked to have his fights recorded, but that he deleted the video because he was, quote, scared of what happened. The video shows Ramirez punching Allison, and Allison swinging back, a knife in his right hand. Allison is later cornered, and a scream can be heard coming from Ramirez. We're also learning more about what led to that May 3rd day. Multiple witnesses today shared that the tension between the 2 began at a prom after party at Allison's girlfriend's house, and that plans to fight after school and off campus were in place. Allison's friends testified that he had told her about the plans, but, quote, he didn't want to fight. He wanted to graduate. We ran out of time during the testimony of one of the boys who was in the bathroom, but he's set to return tomorrow when the trial returns at 9 a.m.
Mind you, this motherfucker don't really have a strong case at all, and he's probably gonna go to jail for a long fucking time. Let's wrap this up, because at time of recording, WrestleMania is about to start, and I'm trying to see if John Cena's bald spot is gonna become a champion again in the year 2025. John Cena won, bitches! But on a more serious note, hours after I finished recording this video, it was brought about in conversation between a bunch of people who don't know how to actually think critically with their mind and their fucking heart that this dad is nothing more than an evil Democrat. And that should be a reason why we shouldn't support him or his son anymore, because that makes fucking sense at all. And him calling us out when we're trying to do the right thing is proof that he's nothing more than a Democrat. And this was all staged, and it's this big conspiracy theory to make us look bad. No, you dumb fucks. You're emotionally unintelligent, and you're ignoring a grieving father asking you very simply to not make this about race or politics. And we all know that it was going to be that anyway, but it's still considerate of a father to ask anyway. And for the slow motherfucker who's gonna say, Leon, aren't you doing the same thing? Absolutely not, you dent-headed motherfucker. Saying that it was gonna be about race and telling motherfuckers to stop spreading misinformation is not making it about politics. It's me checking a bunch of dumb motherfuckers at the door. And if you mad at that, you a dumb motherfucker that fits in one of those categories. Congratulations, stay mad. I hope you shrivel up and no longer have any erectile satisfaction. And the sick part is I'm gonna show you a little bit of further conversation between these people.
And I travel across the country to reduce violence in black communities.
Thank you. I stand with you, sir, on
a regular
that.
basis. But today, I'm here on behalf of the father, Jeff Metcalf.
Okay.
And what he's asking you is to not use his son's image or likeness in what you're doing. You can do what you do, but that's not what he wants his son tied to.
Okay.
Out of respect for that family.
Now, I would ask Jeff Metcalf if he would be bold enough to act like a father of a deceased young man that was murdered, instead of being somebody suppressed, worried that he's going to spark the next race riots or some type of thing. He needs to stand for righteousness, not for the consequences of righteous actions always need to be taken seriously. He needs to be righteous before he is fearful. He is acting out of fear, not out of righteousness. He should have been on the top of the bus today. He should have been standing shoulder to shoulder with me.
Are you a father?
No, I am not.
I'm a father. Hold on.
Amen.
I'm a father. As a father, there is this thing called grief. So let me tell you what's going on in his house. He's getting swatted. His only other son.
Who is swatting him?
Well,
which community?
No, we don't know the community, but it's happening. That's on the police to find. Secondly, he has a son who's a twin, who his son died in his arms. So that means he needs to navigate that. then his son, who's his only son, is getting death threats. So as a father, his hands is full. So the last thing he wants to be tied to is having this complex of race. So yes, violence is bad. Young black men are getting killed every day by young black men across this country.
Yes, but I'm not a member of that community. I'm a member of my community, and my community is being victimized by the community of violent black.
But here's the
degenerates.
But here's the problem.
They're degenerates.
When you stand up in the name of God, there's one body. And if you're not a part of that body,
I can read statistics. So I'm also a pragmatic human being. So I understand when there's a problem, it needs to be addressed head on. If you tiptoe around a problem, that's how you get to the end result.
So your biggest concern is the loss of white life by black people?
No, that's not my concern. I have concern.
The concern is a repeating pattern. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going on and on and on and on. And we just can't ignore it any longer. If it stops, we're good.
So I have a question for you. Do you believe more white people are killed by white people or by black people?
Listen, by strangers, it's 2 to 1. Every single race in domestic issues, because we live amongst each other and uncles kill uncles or drunk at barbecues and stuff like that, it's always the same amount.
So your response is this.
Let me respond, please. Please let me respond.
Is your response that Mr. Metcalf needs to get on your bus and tell people
if I was him, I would do it.
But he's not you. So what I'm saying
is, I'm telling you, I'm somebody that stands for what I believe in, and I don't cower when it's time to stand.
If your desire
it's because of fear.
My desire is that another Austin Metcalf does not happen next week. And if I was his father, I would stand righteously to say, yes, but I'm a man.
We all have common sense.
So you're speaking for his father?
Hold on. We know.
No, I'm speaking for white men in this country.
Are you a father?
White people in this country.
Are you a father?
Hold on one second.
Are you a father?
Hold on one second.
Are you a father?
I'm not, but listen.
Okay, fathers who are not dealing with grief. You've talked for an hour. So if you want to address, I can give you after I give this message. The bottom line is this. You have a father that's out of respect asking you not to put his son's face in a place. How do you say you're going to represent people when you can't respect the will of the people?
His father let me respond, guys. There's too much peanut gallery.
That's not what his father said. His father did not say that.
Can we please let me respond?
So you believe.
So you believe.
I'm
having a conversation between you and I.
That's just what that
Listen to this.
Yeah.
Austin Metcalf is no longer Austin Metcalf. He is a symbol. He is a symbol of young white people being predatorized and victimized every single day, living in fear. He is living in fear. Our people in this country are living in fear. Austin Metcalf is no longer just your son.
Jeff, hold on, Jeff. Do me one favor, because there seems to be an issue that you're okay with Austin's name being plastered with this particular movement. Now, I've already addressed that. So now I want you to say one more time that do you agree with your son's name and face being attached to this movement?
Hey Jeff Metcalf, this is Jake Lang here. I wanted to talk to you and not be led into a question. This is an illegal argument. It's called leading.
Do you agree with your son?
Can I have a conversation with you?
No, because you could have called him before that. You could have called him out of respect.
I'm one of the biggest figures in America.
Jeff,
Nobody's ever
I've given your message. I've given you your message, and here's the response.
Family members, everybody I can
I've given you your message, and here's the response.
You're not giving my
this
message.
guy
You're
said
giving your message.
What he said was this. What he said was this. He said that you, as a father, should be on the bus with him, delivering the message that he's delivering. Unfortunately, he's not a father, and the gentleman with is not a father. Maybe they don't understand what loss is. But at the end of the day, I've given your message, and they thought that it wasn't your message.
Let me have 1 minute of my message to Jeff Metcalf.
Call him.
Okay, what's his number?
We will, but he's on the phone right now.
So Jeff, do you?
This is not a good faith discussion.
Okay, hold on. Here's Jeff. Hold on. So Jeff, go ahead. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey Jeff, it's Jake Lang here. Jeff, first of all, my entire heart rests in your hands. I would be in my position, not even as somebody even knew your son, but somebody that shares the same understanding. I grew up as a 17-year-old young white man too, and I grew up in fear of my life around black people because they were killing and robbing people around me all the time. And I don't understand, as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son. There is an epidemic problem in this country, and your voice could be one of the loudest voices in this country, but you've chosen to recoil out of fear and continue the suppression. Why will you not stand with me and with the rest of the people? We're not calling for racial divide. We're not calling for hatred. We're saying 350,000 attacks on white people by black people a year in this country is wrong. Why can't you stand that and say with that? Maybe you can.
would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today.
Are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
My son, let me finish. I gave you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
You are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
That's the problem.
You've been
submitted.
Hold on, hey, Jeff.
You've been submitted.
I'll handle it from here.
You've been submitted, sir. You're not gonna make us.
And you look at that and you try your damnedest to make it seem like, oh, this is one big hit job against people who want to fight for Austin Metcalf. These people thought that they were going to get a fucking gotcha. These people wanted online relevancy and they got chewed out by everybody that has a fucking working brain. And much like every other motherfucker who can't handle people who know how to work their mind, their heart, and their soul, they go around spreading lies about them, trying to make them out to be the villain, when in reality, that's a grieving father. I never had children in my 25 years on this planet. I've told y'all numerous times, my children are drying up and dying on a bunch of bed sheets. So I should not have this type of expertise. But because I've had to deal with death too many times in my life, I understand that when you're grieving the loss of a family member, especially a close-knit family member, you're going to be annoyed when people prop up your family member as some political puff piece, knowing full well, as much as no one wants to admit it, I'm gonna keep fucking saying it. Nobody really cares about Carmelo or Austin. This is going to be a topic of conversation being brought up next year when this same type of thing happens, whether if it's the same white victim, black perpetrator, or it's the inverse. Why? Because people are not gonna focus on anything except the random rage bait going around. Yeah, I told y'all, they got stupid bitches out here claiming that Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 black people. So we're basing all of this around a bunch of people who don't even care. They just want to say a think piece and nobody corrects them because they don't have a fucking balls to say, hey, dumb fuck, you dumb. But I do. Hey, dumb fucks, y'all are dumb for going around trying this shit and you failed spectacularly. But back to the main portion of the video. While you can sit there and give me your fanatical anecdotes that you got from Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram about this great detail that you found and it equals up to nothing of substance, I am getting bored. I am getting sick of this shit. I am getting a little bit annoyed that motherfuckers think that they could speak on behalf of the black community and say, I apologize to the family of Austin Metcalf. That means absolutely nothing. It is embarrassing that so many people are choosing to ignore the words of the father in order to turn their sycophanical rants about how they hate white or black people into some spectacle that offline is not really as big as they think it is, and they need to keep that shit on their safe spaces on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, because as it's very evident in the real world, this shit is not really as important as you would make it out to be. Why? Because they got people with other shit to do and they got other things on their fucking mind, and they are not gonna waste their entire day worrying about a bunch of random motherfuckers claiming that we're at the end of our times and the only thing that could solve it is a fucking race war. I have said it too many fucking times. You are going to have to wait for the actual fucking conclusion. A dumb fuck trying to be a journalist is not really gonna get you anywhere. A dumb fuck spreading misinformation about autopsies ain't really gonna get you anywhere. Some bogus witness testimony that nobody can verify but motherfuckers are treating as gospel is fucking embarrassing and will not get you anywhere. Here's the skinny. I said it at the beginning, I'm gonna repeat it now at the end. It's gonna go one of 3 ways. Plea deal, not guilty, or guilty. And when the time comes, I will be there to look through all the facts and broadcast that in front of your faces, regardless of any of your fucking political beliefs, regardless of however you feel about this. I'm going to broadcast the facts, and I'm going to go my happy ass back to bed. There's going to be people fighting tooth and nail to say, but my theory, but my theory, but my theory, but my theory. And those are the sad motherfuckers who believe their own narratives instead of believing the actual fucking truth. Because around these parts, we don't waste our time with narratives. We waste our time with the fucking truth. And if you got a problem with it, you can kiss the blackest part of my ass, which is the hole. But if you indeed like that, I'm about that. No matter if you're white, black, Mexican, Asian, slant-eyed, bug-eyed, big nose, shotgun nose, gay, trans, don't matter. You can subscribe to the channel, because despite what a very stupid motherfucker might think, because they want to defend black people doing any criminal activity under the sun, I'm an equal opportunity hater, and I will gladly hate upon anybody I see, because ooh, there's so many stupid people to hate. And if you want me further mad about this said subject matter, Moral had me kidnapped and forced to record my think piece about things in further detail. So you can go watch Moral's video on that. But in the meantime, I'll see you all in the next one. Mwah. Goodbye.